He's an impatient ambivert who says that his life has just about begun. After more than 2 decades of corporate life in diverse leadership roles in India and overseas, he became an entrepreneur 7 years ago. Since then, he has helped many individuals and companies achieve their goals. His specific area of expertise is to coach people on their strengths and help them achieve extraordinary results through them. He believes that there is no limits to achieving. In fact, he has a cricket analogy to support this, which says, at times, it's just essential to last the overs. He studied management from IIM Indore. I have with me a certified Gallup strengths coach, Coach Manish Puri. So are you ready to get coached? Welcome, Manish. Thank you so much for coming here and taking time out and address the audience.
Thank you, Samira. I think it's a great opportunity.
So tell us a little bit about your journey of becoming a coach, and tell us also what your specialization area is.
Right. So my journey of becoming a coach has actually been a very natural one. I had never thought that I would become one. I've had a corporate career for the longest time. I spent more than 2 decades in various organizations. I was a salaried individual. And throughout my life, I was helping teams to achieve their objectives. And because I like to read a lot, I remember this extraordinary book that I laid my eyes on called Open, O-P-E-N. It's the autobiography of the tennis legend, Andre Agassi. When I started to read that book, I realized that what his coach did with him is something that I could very well do with people. And that's when I truly got in touch with my innermost desire of making a difference to people, specifically if they were stuck in achieving a result. And today I very proudly say that the purpose of my life essentially is to help individuals and organizations get in touch with their optimum potential and help them achieve extraordinary success. Because like you said, I genuinely believe there are no limits to what people can achieve. So yeah, that's the reason as to why I became a coach. And then soon after I became a coach, strength psychology hit me. And for the first time in my life, I had this global authority on strengths telling me that you needn't worry about stuff that you're not good at. And I must confess to you that all my life until then, I was busy fixing stuff that I was not good at. So this was just a very empowering concept, and I was drawn to it. I went to it. I got certified by Gallup as a strengths coach. And since then, I've coached scores of people and helped them get in touch with their superpowers. That's in short about how it all happened.
Right. Wonderful. So all this while, you know how we have grown up saying, oh, maths mein kamzor ho, to focus on math. If you're weak in English, focus on English. And so I think most of our lives, we have been focusing on how to improve in the weaker areas rather than focusing more on the strengths. So like you said, that, you know, focusing on strength and optimizing on strengths is something that helps people. So what would be your take on not focusing or focusing less on the weakness and focusing more on the strength? How does that work? You know, how would you coach people on that aspect?
Well, I'll answer this question in two parts. The first thing that I want to tell you is that I'm a very big fan of data and analytics. I don't just believe anything just for the heck of it, right? And I'm sure it is so for most people because that's how belief is created. Now, Gallup is a very well acclaimed global organization which is known for its research. And the research suggests that if you work on areas that you're not strong at, then you will just be able to make a marginal difference in that area.
Yeah.
But if you're bright at an area and if you work on that area, then you hone that particular talent. And with investment of time on that talent, it becomes a strength. So, for example, if you have this spark of being able to sing well, but if you don't hone that well, it's not going to become a strength.
Yeah. Yeah.
It will still remain a talent. Likewise, the all time great Sachin Tendulkar, if he would not have practiced his talent of batting, it would not have grown into a strength.
Hmm.
And lastly, if you don't enjoy doing what you're doing, then I can safely tell you that you're perhaps not in line with your strengths.
I see.
And the other myth is that, I'm already strong at it.
Hmm.
So why work on it? Let me work on an area which I'm not very strong on.
Hmm.
But what people forget at that point in time is that do not take your talent for granted. I remember from my memory that you have learner in your top five strengths. You have strategic in your top five strengths. You have achiever. Now, if you do not work on these areas, they are not going to blossom into superpowers by themselves. Also, let's not forget that research suggests that we can only grow more of who we are. We can only grow into more of who we are. We will never become what we are not very good at. So I'm more than convinced, and there's enough research backing it up. And people are very pleasantly surprised because, after all, who doesn't want to work on their strengths?
Of course.
And quite naturally, they shine because the first impact that this psychology has on you is on the area of self worth. If you believe that you're worth more, a lot is already covered.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. That was really, really insightful. So, what are the other areas of coaching that you work with your clients
Right. So I am essentially a results coach,
on? Okay.
which means that if you are looking at a particular result and if you're challenged by it or are stuck with it, then I can help you, support you, and hold your hand through this journey of achieving results. Gallup Strength Psychology is one of the very dominant frameworks that I use.
Okay.
And there are several other strategies. For example, a lot of my coaching is focused on behavior. If you're able to get or acquire an empowering behavior, then it will impact your results
Hmm.
proportionally. The second thing is Gallup Strengths, of course. And the third one that I've recently added to my profile is specific focus on your business strengths. You have entrepreneurial strengths as well. And I have been equipped by Gallup to coach you on what are those specific entrepreneurial strengths and how to work on them to ace a business result or an outcome.
Okay.
So, behavior, Gallup strengths coaching, and entrepreneurial strengths coaching. These are three very big areas that I work on for me to be able to help you get a result in any area that you want.
Okay. So, when you say entrepreneurial skills or the business skills, would you name just two top skills? I know there would be many more, but just two top skills that you must absolutely must have.
Yes, so there are 10 of them, right? And just like in Gallup Strength Psychology, there are 34 strengths we have,
Hmm.
and we've got to be working on our top 5 and top 10.
Hmm.
In the entrepreneurial space, you have 10 strengths, and out of those 10, you've got to focus on your top 4.
Okay.
And to give you some examples of those, I could tell you my top 4. My number 1 is confidence.
Mhm.
My number 2 is selling. 3 is independence. And 4 is determination, right? If I focus on these 4, then I am optimizing my chances of getting the result I want. And there is a structured framework around them.
Hmm.
These may sound like just 4 words, but each word has an ocean of historical data, facts, and action points behind it.
So imagine if someone could combine the business skills, the entrepreneurial skills, and the strengths, top
Yeah.
5, top 4, and a combination of all of it, and the coaching on that would really bring about the best in people.
So that is pretty much a very good summation of how I approach my work.
Right.
Behavior first,
Yeah.
overall strengths second, and specifically entrepreneurial strengths if you're in that space.
Hmm.
And there's so much more that can be done.
Right.
Another big thing that I do in behavior is helping people iron out their egos.
Hmm.
So, Samira, I must tell you that in my journey, I have been rudely awakened, now pleasantly surprised, of course, to find out as to which were my areas that were hindering my own progress.
Yeah.
And I must tell you that ego is a very big space there.
Sure. Sure.
I have a structured program around that as well. Because let's not take ourselves too seriously.
Yeah.
The thing is that we are so much in love with what we already know that it stops from knowing more things, and that's not a very
Productive.
strengthening space.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of work that I do in that area as well.
So how different are your top 4 in the business skills and top 5 in the Gallups? Do they have any combination or
They talk to each other, yes.
yeah they
There
do?
is a correlation. There is a correlation, but the reason that uh, we have a demarcation here is that entrepreneurial strengths specifically are meant to grow and run a business.
Okay.
And while there is a correlation, but there's a lot more in those strengths which equip you with a lot of know-how that will help you not just to launch a business but to grow a business as well.
So tell me something. I want to pick something from your intro. An impatient ambivert.
Yeah.
Would you tell us a little more about that? Because I think the way you are responding to all the queries and the way you are answering all the questions, you are extremely patient. And I don't see the impatience anywhere. So how would you describe the impatient ambivert?
So impatience talks to my number one strength, that's called activator. All right, and over the years, I have learned to aim it well,
Okay.
which is why you're not seeing the impatient me right now. Uh, but I must tell you that there's a whole lot happening behind what you see, right?
It's like,
Very active,
how the duck floats on the water,
true.
rigorously paddling.
Very actively processing each and every word that's being exchanged, and there's a whole lot happening. And through strengths coaching, I learned how to manage this strength. So I'm impatient generally as well. I want to get on with stuff. I want to quickly go on to the outcome.
Sure.
I want to quickly go on to the result. I like to move pages. I can't be stuck on one page. So it's just that I want to know it well. I want to know it fast, and I want to move to the next page.
Sure.
Also, because I'm a person who is very fascinated by progress. I'm very keen on not just helping all those people I coach progress, but progressing myself also, and the right way. Now, impatience is not always a good thing, and like I said to you, that I have over the years learned how to manage that, which is just a part of I guess practicing the pause and truly aligning with the best part of his strength.
Sure.
Ambi Word is a word that I recently learned. Recently, meaning about 3 years back. We've known words like introvert and extrovert, right? I can't call myself either. I'm somewhere in between,
Mhm.
and that is why I call myself an ambivert. I can be very social,
Mhm.
but there are very specific people that I like to relate with.
Mhm.
The deeper chapters are with specific people. That's why I'm an ambivert. So
Wow,
that's
very nicely described. And I can feel from what you're saying is that how your transformational journey has been, and that is why you're able to understand everything and help people transform in their lives, so, which is great. So,
Samira, I must tell you that
Haji,
that the reason I'm able to do what I am doing
yeah,
is not because of any success that I've got. No,
yeah,
It's essentially because I have failed in ways that you can't even imagine. You cannot shock me with a failure. I have failed umpteen number of times in all areas that you can imagine. And that is why I'm able to do what I'm doing.
Yeah, but there are two kinds of people who fail. They will either choose the dark side and not bounce back, and the other who would bounce back. So you bounce back, and you bounce back in many ways, and started helping people.
Yeah, and it keeps happening.
Yeah.
You fail today, you bounce back tomorrow. And I think it's very arrogant for anyone to say that, I'm done with my failures.
Yeah.
Let's accept that it almost never happens.
Absolutely.
It is something that's going to happen again.
Yeah.
So I think it's a mixed bag, and coaches are able to do a good job essentially because they have a good mix of both.
Right. So
I have no doubt about that.
Right. So would you say a lot of it has to do with the attitude that you carry? Whether you have the attitude to,
Yeah,
keep learning from your failures, keep getting up, keep walking, keep running. And it has to do with essentially who you are and how you look at things in life.
absolutely.
And may I ask you, what are your top 5 strengths? I know number 1 is activator.
Activator, significance, focus is number 3, futuristic is 4, and relator is 5. These are my top 5 Gallup strengths.
And it is so clear the way you describe things, the way you say things, it's a natural connection between all 5, how you look at future, what are the possibilities, what can I do for people? It's all kind of connected. So once they know, so for example, I know my 5 strengths, you've been my coach. Once I discover what my 5 strengths are, what's the next action? What's the next step?
Okay. I'll answer this in 3 parts. Firstly, just knowing your top 5 strengths may not be adequate. We need to know our entire 34 talent report, 1 to 34. Because top 5 are dominant and top 10 are kind of always there with us, right? We must also know the areas that we are not good at so that we stop focusing there, right? And we must also know the mid portion, which are our supporting themes. That's part 1 of the answer. Part 2 of the answer is, once you've taken the assessment, then you could get in touch for a workshop. I do a 1-day workshop, which covers a lot of what, why, how, which, when, and where of the strengths. The other thing that I do is I engage with people on a one-on-one basis, 2 hours a week, every week, and this goes on for a longish period of time. This is one-on-one format of my coaching. And I do a lot of that because that is where actual results start to happen. You see, you've lived your life a certain number of years in a certain way. You cannot expect that to go through a dramatic change or transformational change in a day's workshop. In a day's workshop, you can get to know the basics. But in my one-on-one interventions, over a longish period of time, I then hold your hand for you to be able to get the results that you've signed up for. I don't leave your hand till you get the result.
Sure.
And there's a lot of to and fro that happens in terms of what you know and what you can know, and possibilities and concepts and strategies and so on and so
on. Sure. So this discussion has been so phenomenal, so insightful. And I would like to now request you to help our audience with 3 of your greatest ideas to make their life
better. Well, my first one is, please don't take yourself too seriously.
Yeah.
Because like I said, we're all human, and we all sometimes make the mistake of being too attached and too much in love with what we know. That only blocks what you can know further. Yeah. Second, I think all of us must actively learn. And I know a lot of people say that. I know it's a very cliched statement because you hear it from almost everybody. But then I can even suggest ways and means to to be able to do that. And it's not that I truly want to talk about what I have done, but as an example, I've actually launched a book club wherein by process, by discipline, we end up reading one book in 2 weeks. So over 1 year, you will definitely read 26 books, right? That's my structured way of imposing learning on myself. And I have to tell you that I'm a much, much more aware person than I used to be, because books are just phenomenal.
Yeah.
Right? If that works for you, great. If that doesn't work for you, please dedicate a couple of hours to just knowing new stuff about your field and about various fields in general. Right? And the third one, it's also pretty much in line with yet another initiative that I've taken up. Coaching is not just for people who coach as a profession. What I've also realized in my journey is you need to be a coach as a friend. You need to be a coach as a parent. You need to be a coach as a CEO. You need to be a coach as a peer. You need to be a coach as a business owner. Coaching is a style of communication that influences results and behaviors. Everybody needs a coach, and everybody must look at becoming a coach, not because you're a business owner, no, but because it actually is a style of communication that is so effective.
Sure.
I would say, think about those, and just go do your bit without the worry of making any mistakes. I think it's absolutely all right. Fall down 7 times, get up 8 is what I say.
Great. So your best 3 great ideas, I'm going to recap here. Don't take yourself too seriously, right? Be an active learner. Read as much as you can and read often. And third, be a coach, because that's a style of living. And be a friend in a coach, right? So which one? How would you describe the third one? If I have to say in one sentence, be a friendly coach, because that's the way of life.
So I'd say adopt coaching as a way of life.
Yes, thank you so much. That sounds right.
It's a style of communication, nothing else. And it's not just for you and me to acquire it. It's for every role in life that you've got to be a coach to somebody. I mean, we need more coaches. Absolutely. So that we can empower the world.
Absolutely.
And my next program is one such program that works on people's abilities so that they can become coaches in whatever role they are playing in their life. That's my most recent program that I've launched.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. It was such a pleasure to have you, and it was a delight talking to you, Manish. Thank you so much.
Samira. And thank you for this opportunity. Not just because I had the opportunity of facing the camera, but because through this, we will end up speaking to a lot of people. And I will personally be very happy if some thoughts can be triggered in the right direction. Absolutely. If people are able to take constructive actions.
That's really the intent, that people watch us, hear us, and get a peekaboo in how we have become coaches and how we have transformed our lives, and how these power ideas can help them to transform into, better individuals. Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure. Thank you so much, Samira.